Hello there and welcome to a mini perspectives. Yes, following on from last Thursday's show, we sadly, when we had a few technical issues at the end of the show, we never actually got to our comments section. Most sadly, and of course, I know how popular our comments section is with so many in our audience. So we thought, well, let's at least do a little separate video just for our comments that we were going to cover during that part of the show. Sadly, James can't be with us today, so it's just me, I'm afraid, going through the comments. But anyway, these are the comments that we were going to talk about in our last show. And kicking us off was Nurmal Singh, who of course has been with us for quite some time. I know, one of our regulars. And Nurmal gives us a little bit of a life story, and if I've got my calculations right, I think this makes you about 75. Good heavens. Well, welcome to our show. Thank you for bringing your life experience and your maturity to our otherwise maybe slightly less mature show. And Nurmal informs us, in 1984, you were 34 years old. You were born in Malaysia of a Sikh family, married an Australian girl in 1975 in a Sikh Gurdwara in Malaysia. Now, you weren't following the Sikh tenets closely. Now, you, like so many other people in the community, those events at the beginning of June 1984 were absolutely catastrophic, of course, for those directly impacted, but in terms of the overall community, they had such a resonance, such a powerful impact that it absolutely changed so many people's lives within the community, as it did yours. And as you said, you went frantic in supporting for a Sikh nation, for the Sikhs in Punjab. Indeed, Bhindranwale himself said that the events surrounding his time in the Akal Takht leading up to June, he said this will form the foundations of Khalistan, as indeed it has done. And as you say, Nurmal, Khalistan became your dream, as indeed it has so many others, as a result of what happened 41 years ago. You have been praying for Khalistan since then. Today in 2025, Khalsa is appearing in the world map. It is indeed Khalistan Zindabad. Love Australia. Absolutely. The momentum now for Khalistan is probably the biggest it has ever been, I believe. We are seeing signs of it right across the diaspora, right across Punjab itself. That momentum and support is growing. We have the Khalistan Convention being formed on the 21st and 22nd of June. Watch out for a separate video coming out related to that with more details about that. So yes, indeed, Nurmal. And thank you for your comment and sharing us your story. And Free Spirit. And of course, this video we showed of Bhindranwale and that interview, that incredible interview, albeit very short, sadly, but those incredible pictures on Bhindranwale the year before the terrible assault on the Darbar Sahib, as he was already there a year before. And he was interviewed, and of course I did ask our audience, and thank you to so many of you who did reply, to translate what he actually said, because we knew that his translator had perhaps slightly amended what Bhindranwale actually said. As Free Spirit says, translation up to the point where the interpreter said, each Sikh knows his responsibility, but the part where he adds, and has been taught since childhood to get these ideas, is not actually what Sant Nurmal Singh Bhindranwale said. Again, up to the point, yes, these ideas are worth fighting for. Everything after those words are the words of the interpreter. So clearly there was a little bit of editing going on by the interpreter there. And as you continue, you were in agreement with my explanation until the book came out. Indira Gandhi was not concerned about the dangers of acceding to the demands of Sikhs. She was driven only by ambition and hunger for getting and staying in power at any cost. Etc. Now, actually, what I would do, as I often do, is refer you to the podcast I've specifically done with Bhajan Singh Binder. Bhajan has done a huge amount of research. There was a huge backstory to Indira Gandhi and in fact, the Gandhi dynasty. All the way back to Mahatma Gandhi himself. And of course, their historic ties to Moscow, the KGB. Moscow had huge ambitions for the whole region. They were already lining up to get into Afghanistan. Of course, they went into Afghanistan in 1979, but of course they wanted to extend the Soviet Empire into Pakistan. They had eyes on General Zia. There was assassination plots already afoot to assassinate the Pakistan general and take control of Pakistan. And India were involved in this. Of course, India were caught shipping arms into Pakistan. So watch the podcast about that. And Indira Gandhi was, of course, all part and parcel of this. She was a regular visitor to Moscow. Yes, she was indeed a guest of the Soviet leaders. So we do know those ties with Moscow ran deep. And of course, it was believed, and the evidence is there, is the Gandhi dynasty, and particularly Indira Gandhi, was just basically a puppet whose strings were being pulled by the KGB. And so it is likely that all this whole attack, because one area, geographical area, the Punjab, and of course the Sikh people, were that one obstacle in the way of the aspirations of the KGB. In other words, the Soviet Empire came up against this block, this boulder in its way. That boulder was the Sikh people. It was Bhindranwale and the Sikhs in the Punjab. That is why they basically engineered Gandhi to remove this one obstacle in their way, which of course was the Sikh people. Operation Shanti was part and parcel of that. Do watch my podcast. Fascinating stuff. Please do watch that, because I say it's a real eye-opener. So there you go, Free Spirit. Thank you for your comment. And that's certainly my perspectives on why I believe Indira Gandhi was driven. And it was, of course, her own, as you say, her own ambition and hunger for staying in power at all costs. And Sing Dynamite, you say, I watched this ITN release earlier, and you noticed likewise, you said that the translation was off. So thank you for your contribution in that. And your own understanding is that Sanjay was leader that was awakening the conscience of the Sikhs at this time. And absolutely right. His reply to this question was that all Sikhs know the responsibility. Indeed they do. And as you say, 40 years or 41 years after the events, the same question of conscience comes into play again as the referendum is travelling around the world. And again, as you say, the Sikhs know their responsibility. What a powerful message. Bhindranwale's legacy is still as resonant and as powerful today as it was 41 years ago when he laid down his life, when he martyred himself, and his colleagues did the same. For this message, you know your responsibility. You must be prepared to live by it and die by it. And what a powerful legacy and message that was. So thank you, Sing Dynamite, for reminding us of that. And Kuldeep Kaur, this is, thank you for this comment. Very powerful, very emotional comment, this. Thank you for this. And what you said, you watched a video recently of a person who was part of the process to remove the bodies of the dead from the temple complex, including, of course, women and children. I mean, it must have been heartbreaking for those involved in this. And what the video described was horrific. The deceased were in the thousands. Of course, that totally flies in the face of the official numbers, which said there were only a few hundred killed. We know there were over 10,000 dead. They were not allowed to help those still alive. Instead of helping, they were murdered by the army. Yes, there are reports they were forced to their knees and shot in the back of their heads. These people were instructed to remove the bodies, clean the area for 3 days to remove any evidence of the atrocities that occurred. They showed no respect for the dead. The bodies were loaded into trucks, which normally they were used to pick up rubbish, although the man said at least they managed to wash the trucks first. And they piled bodies on top of each other. They were then mass cremated, 15 at a time. And he said it was much worse than that, which would make your stomach turn, but they couldn't even talk about really what actually happened, because it's just so awful. And Kuldeep, please forgive me if what I wrote hurts anyone. Yeah, but we need to know the truth. As you say, it is important the world knows of the atrocities that were committed against the Sikhs, not just, of course, in those few days of June at the Darbar Sahib, but what followed throughout the 80s and 90s. But certainly, and it was deliberate. It was a deliberate act by the Indian government, by Indira Gandhi, to bus all the reporters who were gathered there, including the ITN reporter whose video we showed earlier. Most high-profile global reporters were there for the BBC, ITN, all the US reporters were there. They knew something was brewing. They wanted to report on it. And they were put on buses and shipped to the Punjab border, kicked off the buses so they couldn't get back in time to report on Operation Blue Star, report on the cold-blooded murder of Sikh men, women and children that happened over those few days. And it took years for the truth to finally emerge. And videos like this say, thank you, Kuldeep. Don't be ashamed for or worried about hurting people's feelings. People need to know what went on. We must not let the truth be buried and hidden. So thank you for letting us know. And then final set of comments. Priam Corman, thank you for your comment. Yes, Google YouTube, Hindus targeting Khalistan. There are lots of channels now giving loads of misinformation on Khalistanis attacking Hindus, just like they buy the media in India. And of course, we do know the Indian media is totally biased and prejudiced. They have started organising marches in Canada against Sikhs with turbans. Yes, indeed, I did. Google Hindus targeting Khalistanis. They are fighting back. They are realising, as I keep saying, the Khalistan movement is growing massively. Support is absolutely pouring into the Khalistan movement. They know that the Khalistan argument is winning. Even international governments are now taking notice of the Khalistan movement. The United Nations are aware now of the Khalistan movement. The Sikh Federation globally is forming an alliance and is becoming part of an organisation ready to legally approach the United Nations, as indeed they already have, to talk as a united voice to get legal consent for a formal referendum in the Punjab, to form the establishment, lay the foundations, the legal arguments, the legal foundations for Khalistan. And this is what India realises and is terrified of. They know the Khalistan movement is winning peacefully, is winning democratically. They know Khalistan is now an inevitability. The only way they can fight back against it is to try and change the narrative. They're doing it. They're sending out their own mobs, their own thugs, their own armies of anti-Khalistanis to try and combat this and try and retake control of the narrative. The one good thing is they're failing. The Khalistan argument is winning. So thank you for highlighting the fact that they are trying to fight back. What we're telling you is the good news is the Khalistan argument is winning because people like you in our audience are getting out there. Your voices are being heard. You are being seen. The Khalistan flags are being seen by the world's media. We are winning the argument. Don't let us lose that momentum. Keep getting out there. Keep talking about it. Get on social media. Don't be afraid. You are not alone. There are thousands of hundreds of thousands, if not even millions now, who are joining the ranks of the pro-Khalistan movement. So you're not alone. Don't be afraid to wade in there on social media and remind these Hindutva people, you are the losers in this. We are winning the argument. So well done to our audience on that. And final word goes to stay safe. Again, one of our regulars. They don't make like they used to. They don't make journalists like they used to. How true. I mean, there's more on ITN Archives, Associated Press, the British Pathé News, Thames TV, etc. It was thanks to these journalists and interviews to go out there in the field. The remaining footage we do have, India has tried to have these journalists removed at times, trying to endanger them as well for filming, yes. But as you rightly said, I think this is a really, really powerful point. I think journalism, mainstream journalism, has failed magnificently in recent years. It's become, I would say, a sylph, nothing. It's nothing compared to what it used to be. That video that we showed back by ITN back in 1983, that was quality journalism. That is the sort of investigative quality journalism that is lacking these days. All mainstream journalism has an agenda. It's parroting a narrative, particularly in India, of course we know that. But even mainstream news here in the West is parroting a fairly tired old agenda that people are losing interest in. People know it's partisan. People know it's propaganda. People are turning to the non-legacy media now. People like us, I'm delighted to say. So it's people like us and channels like us right across YouTube and social media. We are actually getting the truth out there. We are getting the unbiased, unprejudiced messages out there. So that is why you should spread the word. Let people out there know of our existence and, of course, all our other channels that we exist to tell the actual truth, not parroting government propaganda. We are telling you like it is. So do stay tuned, spread out the word, tell your friends, get the word out there, particularly if you're watching from India. Let others know that we exist. But on that note, we will leave mini perspectives for another day. We will be back, God willing, on Thursday with a normal perspective show. But thank you once again to our wonderful audience. Keep your comments coming in. We do love your comments as always. Let us know what your thoughts are on anything that we talk about, plus indeed anything you'd like us to talk about. But that is it for now. We will see you, God willing, on Thursday. Thanks so much for watching. You have, of course, been watching Mini Perspectives. We'll see you next time.